we having fun yet? One of my all-time favorite questions, although it helps that I've renamed myself Meg Fun Higgins. Yeah, when I got divorced, I said goodbye to my birth name, which was Margaret Virginia. Never liked it. Didn't suit me. Named after two of my grandmothers. Yeah. They're another generation. And so my dad, as I've said before, nicknamed me Meg when I was around 4 or 5, I think, getting ready to go to kindergarten. He said Margaret's got too many syllables, so he came up with Meg, although Meg is a frequent derivative of Margaret. And do not call me Megan. Do not call me Midge. Do not call me Madge. Do not call me Peggy. I'm Meg. And as my 16-year-old high school friend said, Meg, you know what I love about your name? It spells gem backwards. Ring that bell, Carl. That's a bell ringer. But I am Meg, your queen of second opinions. Check me out at secondopinionated.com, my website. Experience is my superpower. I come packing with 45 years as a clinical therapist, and I'm not retiring. Still got a lot of fire in my belly. And I happen to be in the third act of life, which means my body's age is over 60. If you need the actual number, the website will tell you. But I live through my spirit, and she's in her 40s.
Meg, let me tell you one more thing about your name. You said it comes from Margaret?
Margaret, right.
So I'm on the ChatGPT.
Of course you are.
And it says, so at its root, Meg means pearl. And here's the symbolism of pearl.
Oh, I never knew this. Okay, enlighten me, Carl.
Wisdom gained through experience, calm strength, something rare and valuable,
Woo!
Beauty formed under pressure.
Oh, my God. Why did I not know this before? Hallelujah. Well, I can tell you that. I fit that definition to a T. I love that I've lived out of my authentic self. Thank you, Carl. That just put a little smile on my face. Can't get enough of those. I want to shout out to Justin. Woo-hoo! This is his studio, Mycitymymusic, that we hang out in every week. Carl, as you all know, is my partner in crime. That's my favorite title thus far. Doesn't mean he won't earn any future ones. But in the meantime, you mentioned ChatGPT. Now see, Carl, this is the other reason why I'm here. So many people do not need or would really benefit from intense therapy. So one of the things I want my gang to know is that I am your human chat therapist. You can hire me for, let's see, 5, 10, 15 minutes by phone call or by text. That's my newest claim to fame. I want you first and second actors, birth to 30, 30 to 60, to come find me because I got exactly what you need. I'm laser focused. I can distill things down to their finest point, their finest message. Queen of second opinions, that's me. Okay, so guess what we're going to talk about tonight? The message is get greater later. Not everything has to be accomplished by the middle of your life. Some things are meant to grow slowly, deliberately, intentionally. So I'm here to talk about that. So many people think they're done, Carl, when they've crossed over into the third act, and I like to say I'm just getting started. Oh my God. But it is interesting. The perceptions, the points of views, the understandings we have created around people that are in the third act and how so many of them now are just being disassembled. They're not holding up. Now, there's a bunch of factors involved in that. One, we're living longer. Two, some of us have better genetics than others. And I'm kind of living proof of that, which I'll talk about a little bit tonight. It's just interesting that so many people psychologically prepared to get it all done in terms of their performance, their achievements, their accomplishments. And I added podcasts to my life just this past year, late 2025. And like I said, I'm rocking and rolling well over 60. Although, as Carl and everybody knows, again, I lived through my spirit, and she's in her 40s. But what's interesting is that just a lot of the things that we were led to believe are just not holding up. One particular study, though, I came across, oh my God, it had to be 15 years ago. It was a study on centenarians, people that were over the age of 100. And this medical community went down to the state of Georgia, and they tracked close to 100 men and women, which I can't even believe that many, but they were statewide, that were over the age of 100. And they so wanted to believe that the biggest reason why they were still around had to do with their physical well-being. You know, how well they took care of themselves, what they ate, their level of movement and exercise and fitness, all of which still does hold up, by the way. I don't want to diminish that. But in the final analysis, they came upon some other profound realizations, which I believe really are behind people's quality of life as well as the number of years. One, they said you need to have something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. As long as you keep experiencing one thing, check that box, you got to fill it that hole again. There was a woman, Carl, she was 105 years old. Ooh. And she had always wanted to drive a race car.
Oh, wow.
And her 5 children arranged for her at 105 to take one little lap in some racetrack in Georgia. I think it was outside Atlanta. And according to the transcript, which I love because I read it, as soon as she was done with the lap, she gets out of the car. I can only imagine because I didn't have pictures of it, but by reading it, I got the visual. She had her cute little, helmet on, whatever. She got out of the car, and as soon as she was done, she was like, okay, now the next thing I want to do, and whatever it was, it doesn't matter, but she already had another thing she wanted to do. And what I love about that is that looking forward to, I can really relate to that. I don't know what that's rooted in, other than I believe a spirited person. I don't think she was saying that so she could add a few more years. But this is the other thing. I think it's about quality of years. See, people believe that, like, I must want to live to 100 because I've got all this fire. I'm like, not really. I'm not going for the number of years. I am about the quality, though. My focus is not to extend. But again, back to that genetic thing. According to what we do know about longevity, 20 to 30% of the factors that do contribute to people living longer, and by that I mean they're really talking about over 80. They did say is tied to genetics. So Mom, Dad, we have you to thank. And I know that that's true because I'm one of 10 children. The youngest just turned 60.
Yeah.
The eldest, oh God, my brother, I think you turned 78 this year. 77 or 78. I've lost track. But the point is he's up there. 5 girls, 5 boys. We're all still rocking and rolling. And that is remarkable. I do wonder.
Thanks a lot, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, thank you. I do wonder, you know what you can look into, Carl, while we're talking?
For sure.
I wonder what do they call, oh, here we go. This is this is called slippage. That's the name. I don't like to call it memory problems. I call it slippage. Guinness Book of World Records.
Okay.
I wonder what the Guinness Book of World Records is for the most number of children / siblings that are all still alive. Oh gosh, and they have to be over 60. I don't know how to Google that.
That's fine. I got you.
Thank you. But I believe our family is inching its way there to a potential Guinness Book of World Records, and I need to track this because if we have one shot, I'm going after it. Not that there's really any prize into it other than notoriety, but I think we got something going on because the youngest, like I said, is 60 and the eldest is 77, 78. But back to this centenarian study. People that tend to live longer lives, again, other than the 20 to 30% genetic factor, back to this other study, the medical community so wanted to believe it was something around that physical well-being, but something to look forward to, which I'm a big proponent of. So again, if you're interested in a lot of years, which I'm not, I'm more interested in the quality. I do believe this is true, something to look forward to. I do believe the other piece is having someone to love. And it doesn't have to be limited to a love, romantic, sexual, intimate relationship. Just having people that genuinely are in your circle, care about you. Also something to do. Now the doing changes as we age because some people might start to experience some limitations around their physiology. But one of the best things I'm coming to terms with is that, again, I'm not interested in living a long life. I told my son when I turned 60, if I died the next day, I'd have a smile on my face. And I'll come back to what I think my secret sauce is to this quality and longevity. But something to do, meaning it's really about purpose. It's really about having a sense of contribution. Oh, I've got a dog coming over here.
That is so beautiful.
Well, you must know I like dogs. You must. But I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to entertain my gang. So, something to do. In other words, I think it's about something to give, something to contribute. It doesn't have to be labor or work. But it's about staying engaged in life. But here was the other thing in that centenarian study, which I totally believe is the secret within the secret to a longer life, if that is your preference, but a quality of life if you're still going to be around. Like I said, my body is still showing up, so I'm really glad that I'm interested in being a quality person.
Let me give you one stat, Meg.
Sure, go ahead.
I'll give you two stats, actually. The way the Guinness Book of World Record does it is they combine the ages. So there's been 16 living siblings with the highest combined age. The Anderson siblings of the USA together had a combined age of 1,270 years.
Oh,
and that was verified in June of 22. Something more similar to you, there's 7 living siblings with the highest combined age of 682 years and 36 days.
Okay, so I need to do the math on this now. I need to go figure out, because I know people's birth date. I know the day, but I don't remember the year because my mom I called her a baby-making machine for a reason. She was cranking them out pretty much every year and a half, 2 years, and then she took a little break and went back at it again. But so thank you for telling me that. So I need to combine the number of years of all of us still alive, and that's going to tell me whether or not we're candidates for the Guinness Book of World Records. But I'm shocked that they are in the USA. I would have thought they would be in Ecuador or some other
Greece or something. Yeah,
or some other maybe.
What do they call them? Green zones or something?
Blue zones.
Blue zones.
Blue zones. Oh, that's interesting. But see, the key for us is the number. You know, the fact that there's 10. And again, everyone now is officially over 60 in the third act. That is remarkable. And every place I go, if that happens to be something I share for whatever relevance, and of course in St. Louis, which is where I'm now back at, that's a big deal because this was a good old big Irish Catholic family. And back in my day coming up, everybody was having a lot of kids. But it stands out now because so many people are not having children, much less maybe 1, 2 tops. Although, congratulations, Justin. He just became a Papa Bear again. All right, we like to celebrate that. So this, something to do, someone to love, something to look forward to. But here's the closer. Having a balanced point of view about life. That was the piece that jumped out in this centenarian study 15 years ago as what they believe was the number one contributor to the longevity. And what that means is that, and I love this, because I grew up in a family system that was riddled with what we call absolute thinking, which is a fancy word for black and white thinking. Very closed, narrow-minded. Gosh. And I understand it because our family had so many people. My mom and dad needed to run this family like a tight ship, excuse me. And so everything was regimented. The problem was there was just no room for gray, is what the color that exists when you marry black and white. And so this narrow-mindedness, this limited thinking, this rigid thinking can really become a problem in terms of how we perceive many experiences that we find ourselves in. So back to the study, they said if a person had a balanced point of view, that really contributed to the quality and the quantity of their years. And what that translates into is they're able to see things from many different sides. They just don't have one or two points of view. And the story that they told, which I thought was just remarkable. Here we go again. This woman, Carl, she was 107 years old. She had had 5 children. I think I mentioned this in a previous show. She had outlived all of her children. She buried all of her children. And in the interview, the guy was only focused on the loss, the pain, the mourning, the grief. And after a few minutes into their time together, according to the transcript, again, I would have loved to have met this woman, he kept harboring on this, oh, you poor thing, you buried all your kids. And she finally just said, are you done yet? And I can only imagine his face. And he got a little insulted. And she's like, there's more to talk about than just the pain, the loss, the grief, and the mourning. She's like, can I tell you what a joy each of my children were? Now, right there, listen to what she's saying. She's speaking to the pain and the pleasure. In other circles, they call this yin yang. In other words, a balanced point of view is if you're troubled with something, you're hurting around something, you're also able to glimpse what might be the positive thing, but I'm not a big fan of that word. I like the word gift. What gift is in this for me? There's something I'm supposed to gain by this pain. And that's exactly what that woman was talking about. She was willing to talk about the sadness as long as this guy was willing to let her talk about the joy and delight that she had from having those children. Balanced point of view. And it's so interesting. People don't understand that I really do get paid as a therapist to hang on darn near every word my client says. They call it engaged listening, active listening. Yeah, those are words that don't appeal to me. I like to say I hang on every word you're saying. And by that I mean I lean in and I will stop my clients and go, interesting word. Tell me more about that. Because we all have the same dictionary. We all use the same set of words. Thank you, Webster. But inside each word is a different meaning. And that's what I am going after. So I pay a lot of attention to language. A lot of attention. And do not assume that just because somebody says that's fantastic, that that's necessarily a positive thing. We are what we think. And that's what came out in that study. If we tell ourselves, I'm getting old or I am old, well, guess what? You are. And do you know, well, Carl, I don't know why you would know this because you haven't been in my company that long. But I noticed, let me see here. When was it? It was after, that's right, it was not long after I turned 65. I was traveling a lot at that time because I was a therapist for the U.S. Army Reserves, and I covered a 7-state region. So I was getting about, and I had a lot of occasions to affiliate with a lot younger people, and they could tell that I was no spring chicken, but I wasn't done yet either. So the point is, I noticed a lot of people would dance around that word old with me. And what came to me, because I am a frustrated, creative person, I remember one day, I don't know what state I was in, it doesn't matter, I said, you know what, if you're going to use that word old with me, then you need to put a B in front of that word. Bold. That's who I am, and that's what I'm going after. So it's just amazing how so many times we become what we think. So to an annoyance, my friends, they love me, but they get annoyed with me because like, gosh darn, can I just say, I said, well, yeah, but if it's something negative, or something that is demeaning or diminishing, you need to pay attention to that. Because oftentimes when I inquire, they're like, oh, no, no, I don't mean that. I said, well, guess what? The brain hears it that way, in a particular way. So language is important. That's why I have a beef now around the words that get assigned to people in their third act. Senior citizen. Now, you know when I like the word senior? Can you take a guess when that word actually had relevance to me?
High school.
Thank you. And then college. Anything that was about the end, the completion of my formal learning, I was willing to celebrate that. I was willing to go to the front of the class. But after high school and college, I don't want to be seen as exiting. And that's how I see that word. And I am one of those people that does not ever ask for a senior discount. I get offered, and I decline. Again, for me, it's all about, some people say, oh, that's the perk, you've earned it. I'm like, yeah, well, probably if I wasn't still engaged in making money, maybe I would tap into that. I'm sure there's something about that, but I'm not a coupon gal. I'm not nickel and diming. And I understand the point of view. I'm not here to change anybody's point of view. Remember this about the queen of second opinions. I'm not here to influence, persuade. No. I always like to say, you do you and I'm doing me. But it's interesting how the mind will totally affect the body and the spirit. I think it's mind, body, spirit. That's what I believe. And then the other word, elderly. And geriatric. Oh, and here's the one that will totally fire me up. Mature.
Ooh.
Oh, no, I don't want to be seen as mature. And then geriatric. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I mean, they just don't sound pretty.
Man, you can't be geriatric with a bobblehead. Like.
Oh, yeah. By the way, gang, check this out. How much do I resemble her? I have Carl and Justin to thank. Weeks and weeks ago, they said, Meg, you need a bobblehead. And thank you, God and universe and technology, because it doesn't take much. I jumped on Google, found a company, and now my hair isn't as red as it used to be. But they got the glasses, the outfit, the red earrings, and I love the shoes, by the way. I need to go find me a pair of shoes like that. But there she is, my bobblehead. She's going to go with me everywhere I go. But again, I like to pay attention to words. And so, like I said, I just had it happen the other day. A guy dropped the word old. I said, no. You got to put the B in front of it, and then we'll talk. And I like the word seasoned. Now, see, I like that. Probably because nutmeg is one of my other nicknames, and that means I'm spicy in all the right ways. But experienced. Of course, I like to cook. And the other thing I've been doing lately, but I've been experimenting with using the metaphor of I'm a car. And I've got over 100,000 miles. Mm-hmm. But you know, there's certain cars, if you keep them in good shape.
Keep that engine, keep that
going.
oil in them.
They can keep going. And I stay on top of my own maintenance, trust me. But here's, you know what's so interesting? This whole thing around, you know, getting and staying greater later, or as I like to call it, I'm not dead yet. We have kind of one culprit around this whole thing around aging. And it doesn't come from the medical community. This was so astounding to me. Back in 1889, Otto von Bismarck.
Sounds important.
Was the chancellor for Germany. And one of his claims to fame was he was the one that created the plan for retirement. It was the first government pension system. I did not know Germany was responsible for this. He was the one that came up with choosing 65 as the age that people would be entitled to collect some form of government pension. The tricky thing is that he picked 65. This is in the literature because he thought and I don't think he was alone, but he thought most people would be dead by then, so they wouldn't be able to collect it, so that the country of Germany would be able to capitalize on people. So he picked that age with the quiet assumption that people wouldn't last that long. So because of him, Otto von Bismarck, they called him the Iron Chancellor. I don't think that was a term of endearment. He was the one that came up with 65, and then from that point on, that I guess kind of spread around the world. And people just started to assume that by 65, people were done. They had no more capabilities. They had nothing to contribute. And that their body was just going to decline pretty quickly after that. And what's interesting, Carl, there was no science to back that up. No, it was all about money, honey. So it's interesting. One of the biggest shifts that I find myself making, because I grew up with decline, aging, old, is I'm shifting my point of view around this third act of life, in that rather than decline, I see myself as continuously growing, continuously learning. And isn't it interesting that the research is coming in now about how to keep that brain stimulated, at least from a cognitive ability standpoint? Because like I said, I don't care if I check out, but God, nobody I know wants to be strapped with Alzheimer's or dementia. Okay, this little doggy's got to go away. I don't know its name, but we'll get it out of here. Again, I kind of see it as I'm just getting started. So what we're seeing is purpose and meaning. That's really what it's about. That's really interesting. So the old days of people just becoming philanthropists and volunteering and then getting into an assortment of sports, whether it's golf, pickleball is the latest thing. I have a thing about if everybody's doing it, I don't think I want to be.
But Meg, it's
with
the
it.
rave.
I understand, and again, according to a lot of people, medical community, they're big on it because of the focus and the attention. So that is a cognitive benefit. But in the meantime, here's what I want you to pay attention to. There are certain words that truly are kisses of death that will feed the body, mind, and spirit decline. And that's really what I'm inviting my listeners to pay attention to. Notice the words that you use, that you align with, especially when you move into the third act over 60. The word should, forget about it. That's somebody else's rule. If you use should a lot, then you're not being true to yourself. You're signing on to somebody else's rule or edict or directive. The word can't, get that out of your vocabulary. Cannot is a child's word. Will not is a grown-up word. That means you are clear, you have firm boundaries, you know how to take care of yourself. Fail or failure, get that out. Fail and failures are all opportunities to learn. That's all they are. There is no such thing as a mistake that's bad. Everything has a spin on it. And disappointed, I've heard that word a lot. I'm so disappointed. Well, disappointment is what people feel when they had an expectation about someone else or something else and it didn't come true. So monitor that. And regrets, that's the biggie. People who are on their deathbed with regrets are people who focus on would've, could've, and should've. And all they do is ruminate around the things that didn't happen, the things that they didn't create, and they marinate in that doom and gloom. You're not going to find me there, although it's easy for me to say because I am fired up still. I like to say I'm living life on the checkout lane, Carl, as we wind this evening down. And that checkout lane, like in the grocery store on the conveyor belt, well, I'm on it. But guess what I am, Carl?
What's that?
I ain't no bag of prunes, baby. I'm a jar of hot and spicy salsa. It's all in what you tell yourself. It's all in what you picture. And that's the image of this queen of second opinions. All right, gang, sign us out of here.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?